Hey everyone, welcome to Limitless Radiocast, episode 60. Hanging out with an amazing man today, Bobby Lam, the co-founder of the Flo-Bottle that you see across all the BJJ circuits and tournaments out there. He gets into his background, how he and his family has immigrated into the United States at a young age, started TaeKwonDo like a lot of us have, started training jiu-jitsu and just fell in love with it. Bobby's an amazing husband, father, and man, looking to help a lot of people, so check this show out and enjoy. This show's being brought to you by Gateway Dental Care, Isaac Couteau DDS out of Worcester, Ohio. Go out there and check them out, especially if you're located locally or in Worcester, Ohio, and you're listening right now. I want you guys to stop. Take note of this place, Gateway Dental Care. They have an amazing dentistry business going on here. Check it out. Anxiety-free dentistry. Who wants to go to the dentist? No one wants to go to the dentist, but we have to go to the dentist. We got to get our teeth clean. We got to get things taken care of. A lot of us have kids. We need to do that kind of stuff. They do everything here, from oral checkups to general checkups to cleanings, oral cancer screenings, help you with teeth grinding, gum disease therapy, ceramic crowns, full mouth reconstruction, mini dental implants, composite fillings, extractions. They have it all. They take care of you, make you feel great, and want you to come back. Again, Gateway Dental Care located in Worcester, Ohio. Check them out. Also, remember to go out there and support all our other sponsors. That's AI Wellness, RollAmongUs.com, BattleBomb.com, M&H Coffee Beans, and Magic City Brewing Company located in Akron, Ohio. Now, everybody, I want you to turn that volume up, throw those headphones on, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Hey, everybody, welcome to the show. Hope all of you out there are doing well, taking care of yourself, doing what you need to do for yourself and your family. So today we have an awesome guest hanging out with Chad and I. He is a professional DDS by day and a BJJ practitioner, blue belt by night. He's a husband, a father, and also co-founder of Flo-Bottle, which I'm sure a lot of you out there have seen on social media and all the jiu-jitsu tournaments. There's a lot of people out there that have it. It's an awesome bottle. Chad and I both have one, courtesy of Bobby sending us to him. Bobby Lam is who we're hanging out with. And also, everybody, welcome him in. We thank you so much, Bobby, for hanging out with us. Appreciate it very much.
No, appreciate you guys for having me on. Just truly blessed that, me and Chad were reaching out to get each other back and forth. And then, just happy to be here today with you guys for sure.
Yeah, for sure, man. Thank you for coming on. It's very vital for us in this show. And one thing we wanted to set out to do to bring average people or everyday people that work in all different lives and train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because like anyone can do it. You still have to get up and get to the gym and do that kind of stuff. But you're doing, dentistry work during the day and then you're training jiu-jitsu at night. So, that's really cool. Why don't we do this? Why don't you tell everyone, our listeners, a little bit about yourself, like your background and stuff, how jiu-jitsu got its hooks in you?
well, you know what, like martial arts, it's always been a part of me. So, right, cool. I was born in Vietnam. So we came over, early, like 1980, I was two. Okay. I was 2. My brother was 4. And, coming over, we didn't speak English. So, my older brother, he got picked on a lot. Right. So my dad, he was a little bit bigger boy, he was a little bit chunky, we came over from Vietnam, the same immigrant story as a lot of Vietnamese, like boat people and stuff like that.
Sure.
So we came over as refugees and stuff like that to China. And then we were able to immigrate to America on a sponsorship. Right.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
So our English was lacking at the time. So, in our neighborhood, we were the only Asian kids in the area growing up. So, but yeah, my brother's getting his butt kicked. So my dad put us in TaeKwonDo, of course. Right.
Nice.
So,
of course. Yeah.
So,
right. For sure.
So I started at 5, my brother was 7 at the time. And you know what, we loved it, bro. I mean, at that time, at that age, it really gave us a lot of discipline, because our teacher at the time, he was dead serious, like closed gym, parents weren't allowed inside, which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So it's just like, you show up late, you're doing knuckle push-ups, right? So started off there for 5 years, and we got our junior black belts there, and it was fun, man. I mean, my dad still has some of the videos, and it's a trip because everything was like high head kicks. A lot. So back then when I'm 44 now, so it's like we were able to do the splits, right? Not so much now.
Not so much now.
Not so much now. I could barely get in, like I could barely squat to my heels, right? But yeah, it was fun. It was just like, for me, like I was small, so I was small. I had to use my speed a lot, and it was good. Even doing the forms and stuff like that. I mean, in our neighborhood, a lot of kids weren't doing that, so. It just taught us a lot, and my dad really like got into it, so he made us train a lot at home, and then it just gave you a little bit of confidence, and then from there another friend introduced us to an Okinawan martial art, it's a Japanese, it's called Okinawa Tae, which had a lot more like things called like grab attacks and wazas and like katas and stuff like that. But in both those arts, like I competed a lot, and we sparred a lot too. So it was cool because we were able to still get physical. It wasn't just tapping around. Of course, TaeKwonDo gave us a lot of foot skills, so I was able to use my feet a lot. And then where Okinawa Tae, when I transferred over, it was like we got transplanted over there, and all I did was kicks. But as a kid, we were so advanced in kicks. And we're in our movement that they couldn't touch us with their hands. So I'd just be head kicking everybody on that side. Nice. and it was actually like, it was fun. Right. But then we were able to learn how to box and use our hands in this other martial arts. And then I did that till about 20, all the way up to college. And then just school took over from there. School took over and just like how a lot of us, end just life. But, like all of us, UFC, took a toll, right? So we saw what jiu-jitsu can do. And it was always just in the back of my head to do it. And then my brother-in-law, who loved the UFC, is like, and this was probably about 11 years ago, right before my first daughter was born. He was like, man, let's just go to jiu-jitsu. And I was like, okay, I just go after work. And then I started in Nogi, and I did that probably about 8 months, and it was really fun. And then I had my first daughter, and I was working like 6 days a week at the time. And then I just didn't have time. And it's a big excuse for sure, but that gym ended up folding, which was even worse because like that. So that gym went under, and then it's hard to like just go to another gym right away, especially when you're super busy. And then, but that gym, like, transplanted in my head like how awesome jiu-jitsu was, because there was this dad in there with 4 daughters, and those 4 girls whooped everybody in class.
Nice.
So from that day on, I told my wife, I was like, when we have kids, they're all going to do.
This is what they're doing. Yeah,
they're doing jiu-jitsu.
Yeah,
so
it's spot on, because you see what had in general, even if society, if we weren't pervy to see as much as we see more versus, so I'll be 45 in a couple weeks. So we're Bobby, you and I, and Chad's the old man in the room. He's a few years older than us. So, but we're all in that same era. So we kind of know like what it's like. And you, for sure, it's very hard because you came over, your parents immigrated over here, which makes it extremely difficult because, let's be frank, people aren't fair to people who come from other countries into this country. So you're treated
just different.
Different.
Yeah. Anybody that's different.
Right. And which I mean, I always hate hearing about it. So I hate that you had to go through that. It always bothers me because I'm really hard on my kids about like treating people, equally. I don't care, that kind of stuff, but I'm glad you made it to where you are, and you've had the, your father like pushing you in it, because kids that are in, Taekwondo now or karate, they don't always push their kids to be better. You know what I mean? It sounds like you had that instilled in you at a young age. Yeah.
My dad was like this old military guy,
Nice.
So,
okay.
So we had to leave Vietnam because he was part of the South Vietnamese army, which worked a lot with the United States. Right.
Okay.
So he was he's a tough son of a bitch. So he ended up buying, like, I remember it vividly. He bought like this heavy bag, right? And he strung it up in the garage, and it was on this kind of like this thing that would move back and forth. So he'd make us kick that thing all the way down the garage and back, and he'd just sit in a chair, he'd be like, keep going, and we'd be doing that, because he didn't want his, like any dad, like he wanted to give his sons tools, to be able to defend himself. Because honestly, he was working, like when we first came over, he was working like 16-hour days, and he was just really, like, him and my mom were just like, we were latchkey kids, right? So you guys were probably latchkey kids too. We were on our own, like just like out in the streets doing whatever we do.
My mom had no idea where I was ever.
No. And
until it was dark.
And it was the best, right? And now we're all helicopter parents now, right?
Yes.
So it was, but on the weekends though, the old man was always, he was always making us train in the backyard and stuff like that, so he always instilled that with us. And then when he can, he'd take us to tournaments and come watch. So that, there's no messing around with him, because he was really serious about that. So like we would we'd play and stuff like that, but when he was around, it was just like boom, it was dead serious if we're in a train and stuff like that. There's no like laughing and playing around.
No goofing around. Yeah. Just
get to it, because, he didn't want to see us come home crying or anything like that, so, but you know what, though, it gave us a lot. Like I would say, cause a lot of, like, we talk about jujitsu now, we know how great it is, but like those beginning martial arts gave such a great foundation for where we are now. So I give so much credit to those instructors at the beginning that really held it down. Because we could easily rail on like the past martial arts and stuff like that. But man, like for people our age, like that's all we had.
That's all we knew. I'm glad you brought that up, Bobby, because I was sitting here thinking about it. And I said that on a podcast or two ago, that say what you will about the karate and taekwondo of the 80s, right? That's all we knew. That's all we had.
Yeah.
My first karate class was in 1982. I was 7 years old, and I was a little skinny kid. My dad got me involved.
Yeah.
But what that did was lit the fire in us for martial arts to keep seeking something, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I started jujitsu at 29 years old, and seeing some UFCs before that. There was not jujitsu in our area. So I'm like, I need to do something. I went back to a taekwondo school. I'm like, this isn't it, but it just kept me looking for the next thing and something, right?
Yeah.
And you said the confidence and the character and all that discipline, respect. It's an awesome foundation.
No, it's great. I mean, when you started at 7, so how long did your dad have you in that when you started?
I went, I hit I went from 7 to about 12, I don't know, 11 or 12 pretty regularly. I got to like brown or red, I think, at that point.
Yeah.
And then that's preteen and teenage years hit, and I went back and forth sporadically,
Yep.
I did finally get my black belt, a few years down the road, but
that's awesome.
That's so awesome. I'm a first degree black belt in karate, and, first degree black belt now in jujitsu. So
yeah, it teaches you how to move on your feet. You know what I mean? It like soccer or whatever. Like it teaches you like a lot of movement and stuff like that on your feet. So you still, everything starts on the feet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So at least you still know how to strike, and it taught you how to punch correctly.
Correctly. I think, and I think it helps you carry yourself in a certain way, right?
It does for
like
sure.
Your confidence and all that stuff, So we still, at the gym that Terry and I train at, obviously we're big on the jujitsu side, but we still have our karate program, which we don't do any forms until they get to their black belt, but we do Brazilian jiu-jitsu, kickboxing, and functional self-defense, which is pretty much the old school Gracie self-defense.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But they still earn rank like karate, and they still bowing in and out and, all that stuff. So
yeah, it's very respectful,
Mm-hmm.
And, maybe, we look back into theatrics and stuff like that, but like the forms, like even like the katas and forms and stuff like that, like it taught you how to learn.
Yeah.
Yep. You know what I mean? Like, and it's like, okay, you have to be really detailed in that learning. Like your arm has to be this way or whatever it is. Right.
Sure.
Yeah.
And jiu-jitsu is a lot of the same thing. You're watching a technique and like, you have like really quick, like to like pick it up. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Right.
Yeah,
and
right.
And then you see that it's like, who matched the 2 white belts together? Right. So it's like, they're over there fumbling around, so I think the guys that did karate from a young age, you can look at stuff and you can analyze it and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like really quickly, because you've been doing that for so many years, and you're able to look at body mechanics and stuff like that differently than somebody that has never done it before. So it still gave us a lot of tools today.
Absolutely. And I think that's what helped me as an instructor. Because I teach in a chain, everything leads to the next thing, you know what I mean? So same way with katas, you're always into that next step and all that stuff. So definitely helped.
Yeah. I mean, you're deep in it. You're the instructor. So like you're teaching people this stuff.
But we haven't talked about my past that much, but I was teaching jujitsu as a 2-stripe white belt.
Oh, wow.
Just because of, what we had to do.
There really wasn't anything around to teach.
No, I started no-gi once a week was our gym. And then it eventually evolved into a gi a day a week. And then my instructor was a blue belt. This was in 2004. And then he had some things come up and he's like, hey, it's your show now. I'm a 2-stripe white belt. Figure it out, so.
But you know what the thing about teaching is like, you only have to, like, to be able to teach somebody something, you only have to be one step ahead of them.
Yeah.
Like if I know how to get somewhere, right, and I've only been there once, I know how to tell you how to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think like 2-stripe white belt could teach somebody right off the street very basic stuff.
You could, and that's people have asked me like, what did you teach or how did you teach? I'm like, well, I didn't know that much at that point, so that was a good thing.
Yeah, you just taught what you knew.
Yeah.
You taught what you knew and learned on the fly. And you studied a lot though, too. You did a lot of seminars, a lot of studying. You put yourself in a good position to do that. But back to like the beginning martial arts, like you were saying, Bobby, it also like planting that seed. And I had that seed planted in myself as well. It also does obviously build the confidence in your life, but it transcends to like going to school or hanging out with other kids or not being afraid to talk to other people or things like that. Like it helps boost that stuff as you get older. It makes you a better all around person. That's why we talk about jujitsu on this podcast a lot, obviously, but we also we never knock down TaeKwonDo or karate or any other martial art because it's vital, we feel, for young people to be involved to get that seed in them. Because if they walk away from it, but maybe a little bit of that technique or katas and stuff, they go, oh, well, this is like you said, Bobby, it helps you learn. Well, you're learning that kata, but you're also learning to be respectful at school or learn whatever test is coming up. Like, hey, I got to study because if I sucked at martial arts, then I'm going to suck at this test. At least that's how I try to tell my 3 kids.
Oh yeah. Can you imagine if we only studied when we were in class at jiu-jitsu? You know what I mean? Like I'm only able to go like once or twice a week. So like I have to do studying off the mat.
Sure.
As much as on the mat, or else I just, I go and get murdered anyways. But I mean, I was like, can I last 10 seconds longer than I did last time? So
hey, that's good.
That's perfect. Yeah. Chad has mentioned it many, many times. He's told me this. He's given speeches in classes. And go ahead, Chad. You like.
Well, no, it's perfect because everybody's a big goal person, I think, in jiu-jitsu, which it's okay to be a white belt and want your blue belt. That's that big goal for now. But what's the small goals in between? Because we know getting your blue belt could be 2 to 3 years, maybe longer, depending who you are, what you train, what you put in. So you have to have them little goals of lasting 10 seconds longer than you did the last round, or this guy's only going to tap me twice today or something. It might sound silly to some, but those small micro goals are huge.
Yeah. And jiu-jitsu, it's so incremental with jiu-jitsu too, because you just have to go get smashed like all the time. And it's just like, and you just have to learn to love, like, okay, I got a great sweat in, I got smashed all day. Like, like at the beginning, you're like, oh my gosh, you're so overwhelmed by it. But now it's just like, man, I'm just used to I have no problem tapping all day long because I learned something from it.
Yeah.
That's one of the biggest things I tell, newer white belts that come in and ask me to roll or something. And if we, chat afterwards or whatever, and I'm always like, just keep coming back and don't feel you have to win this. Like, you don't know what you're doing and you shouldn't know what you're doing because you've never done this before. And it's super overwhelming. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, just go and do it. And I was like, everyone here, which we've talked on the show before, find a great gym to be in. That person who's rolling with you, they may smash you, tap you, whatever, but they're not just going to be like walk away and brush you off and go to the next guy, you know, good roll. Hey, am I working on this or whatever? You know, we talk after class or whatnot. So that's vital as well.
It seems like all the guys like our age when we starting jujitsu, because all our kids do jujitsu. It's like my class is like it's all dad. Like so, I have
all dad.
I have 3 daughters, right?
Oh, so, nice. Yes.
So that's like how I ended up getting in there again, because I told you my wife Jennifer, I was like, hey, our kids are going to do jujitsu. So we found this jujitsu gym, which is Atos here in Las Vegas under Professor James Naval. And my oldest daughter, so she's really shy and a little bit more reserved. So she got her gi, right, and everything. And we've been to 2 other gyms at this time, and the cultures just weren't perfect, right? Mm-hmm. So we switched to this one, and then she already got beat up there. So now, you know, like she's really like, hesitant to go back on the mat. But I was just, my wife was on board. She's like, I'm just going to keep taking her. And I was like, okay, keep taking her. So she took her. And by the 7th time, she's just sitting there like huddled up on the bench. You know, Professor James just came over, just picked her up, saying, Jayla, today's the day. You know what I mean? And just put her on the mat, and she's been on the mat ever since, you know. So now she led the way for her other 2 sisters. So I got 3 daughters in there now. And then, and then for me to be able to teach them, right, I got to go to class so that to make them better. So just but now it's just dad jitsu, bro. Like everybody in there is just all dads. Like it seems like my class is like everybody's 35 and up and just murdering each other, and everybody's just like loving it because the camaraderie there is just so amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And that another thing, which is awesome, that it's like you have like your own dad's group and you guys all do jujitsu. Yeah. And I've talked about it on this show, is like you gain that camaraderie, that family. Like you don't really think that you're going to. It's like, oh, I'm just going to go do this. And then when it happens, you're just like, all right, cool. These are all my new friends and family. This is all I hang out with because I can't talk.
And, you know, sometimes the best part of those days isn't the role or whatever. It's the time before and after you're hanging out with those dudes, right?
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
You know, I went to a tournament. I coached some guys at a tournament. We had 4 guys compete in Pittsburgh, which is a couple-hour drive for us. You know, and they did awesome competing, and we won some gold medals. We lost some matches, but the best time was hanging out with them on the car ride there and back, or at the, you know, in between matches, hanging out, talking, and having a good time. That was the most fun part of the day.
Yeah, it's a big community. You know, it's like it's the culture of the group, and everybody's super respectful, and everybody just wants to see other kids do well. You know, it's awesome, man. I've gained so many friends from that. Like I just got a whole group of buddies that are all jiu-jitsu guys that we go camping with and do all these other things, you know, outside the gym. So it's just, you know, it builds, it really, like the culture of that gym is led by the professors. But man, I tell you what, who leads the culture is the moms.
The moms? Wow.
Bro,
nice.
If you could get a group of moms that are like just all in, I think any gym will be successful, because those moms, like, they organize so many things for the kids. Like every time someone has a birthday party, all the cupcakes are there. You know what I mean? And then from the moms, it just spreads to everybody else, because
contagious. Yeah.
Because the moms are they're so organized, and they want everybody's kids to do well and this and that. So they're all looking after everybody's kids, you know. So the kids program here at our gym is really good. Especially, I mean, my kids are 11, 9, and 4, you know, right. So it has to be really like a great place for them to go and explore and to be with friends and stuff like that, you know. So I really believe like it's a great place for kids just to interact.
It needs to be a safe spot, a safe place for them, like in terms of that, like they go, and that's been built obviously from you being there, you know, and having girls. I have 1 girl, so I have 2 boys and 1 girl, and mine are close. And we are, gosh, I almost forgot how old my kids are. 14, 12, and 8.
I have to think about it all the time. I forget their names sometimes.
I was like, oh no, like, wait a minute.
Yeah. I took the easy way out. I have twin boys. So we're good.
Oh man. Oh, you're good to go. They just kill each other.
Well, they're seniors in high school. So it's getting serious now.
Getting serious. Going to get on to the college days. You went to, Bobby, you went to UCLA for your undergrad?
Yeah.
Nice.
So,
okay.
So after high school, I actually that's why I said 13th grade. I did 3 years at a junior college.
Okay.
So I was a really crappy student in high school, right? I think my GPA was like a 2.5, right? But then, I think junior college is vital when you don't really know like where you're headed.
Yeah, for sure.
So because then, you're not wasting a bunch of money. All the UCs now, like it's 6 figures to graduate those places now.
Yeah.
College is just insane, right? And it's not for everybody's, but I went to Moore Park Junior College in California for 3 years, just grinded it out. I like lived at school. So I knew if I left campus, I wasn't going to do homework. So I purposely
stayed. Yeah.
Leave gaps between my classes and I'd study between them, so just pushed really hard, in junior college for 3 years, finished all my general ed there. And then got into UCLA. So got into most of the UC schools, but I picked UCLA because, it just had a big name. And then did 2 years there, and then, got into dental school at NYU, and then went to NYU for dental school and was out there and finished it up out there. It was a good time, but man, that was like the hardest studying I've ever done in my life.
When you went out to New York?
Yeah, when I went out to New York. So it was first of all, it's cold as hell. So it's like,
I was going to say, you went from Cali to New York. I mean, you were young, but still. Yeah.
Like, man, I went all the way over there, and I'll tell you what, I did feel like at first, like a fish out of water, because honestly, like I'm the type of dude I got to read things like 5 times to get it. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And it's like these guys, there's so many kids that are just brainiacs. Like some people just can learn at a higher level. Right. So, and I give it up to them, man, but I was there and just had to just grind it out and get through. But it taught me a lot. Same thing, like where martial arts is about discipline and stuff like that. And like getting in your routine and just setting that schedule, and looking back, I was like, man, I probably could have studied harder, but
we always do that.
I think I still have PTSD from dental school, bro. I still like wake up like I literally still have dreams that like I have no idea what I'm like studying for, or I'm not ready for an exam going into school.
Man,
like panic a little bit, like, oh crap.
Yeah. So I graduated NYU in 2006.
Oh, okay. Nice.
So I've been a dentist now for 16, 17 years, right?
Wow. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. And then I started my own. So I came out, and then I ended up in Vegas because my girlfriend, who's my wife now, she lived in Vegas. But so I come out with this huge student loan, right? Just like, like over 400,000 in debt at this point.
Okay.
Because NYU is a private school, and they're like the number 2 most expensive school in the nation behind USC.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. So USC is like super expensive, but they're well renowned, right? But it's come out with a ton of debt. California is paying dentists kind of garbage. And then so like Vegas at the time, 2006 was paying dentists pretty well. So I came out here and I just worked just like my old man. I would just work 6 days a week, and then just paying off all this like college, because I've been in school the whole time, all this college debt and stuff like that. And then, worked for private office, corporate office. And then finally decided. So after my second kid, just talked with my wife, and it's like, hey, we could just put everything to the side, put all our eggs in one basket, and let's open up my own dental office. So open up our own dental office in 2013, and she came in, she worked with me, and just started with 2 people, two, my assistant, my manager, and my wife at the time, and 2 kids. So just decided to be an entrepreneur. But I always say with entrepreneurship, man, study. So I read like 4 books on how to open a dental office, and just really looked at all the successful dental offices out there. Like I always say, like, learn how to write a business model, so writing a business model, even for Flo-Bottle, had to do this. So I've written so many business models in my day. But just a resource for your listeners, like go to strategizer.com. Like there's this thing called business model canvas.
Okay.
So business model canvas is on there. Like you're able to write out everything in your business model on one sheet. So a business model canvas is kind of like a play on Broadway, right? So the audience sees everything in the front, right? So you'll write out everything in the front, and then and then all the people behind the curtain are doing all this other stuff, right? But you're able to do all that in one sheet. So you're able to like look at all your vendors, like all your partnerships, like all your costs, like where your profit's going to be, all this stuff. So go like, there's a bunch of YouTube videos on that too. And I think they're teaching that in business school now too, as the business model canvas. But I learned that back in the day, and man, like I always say, like, if you guys have an idea, like even the podcast or whatever, right?
Sure.
Go on that, write out 3 business models in different ways, like that it'll work out. And then you can slowly build on that. And then that way you can look at all your partnerships, and you can do that for anything. You can do that for a kids class. You can do that for adults class or starting your own gym, whatever it is. But that's one resource that was really helpful for me, and just reading books on whatever the hell you want to open up.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thank you, because that's vital to both. So we did turn a podcast into an LLC, and then we have the Limitless tape, which is under that. So we sell the finger tape, the Limitless tape underneath.
I got that in my Flo-Bottle right now, bro. That tape is awesome.
Nice. Awesome. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. So thanks for shouting out that site, because I didn't know about it. And we're always trying to, we're middle-aged guys that decided to do this. So I'm always like,
we always we write down everything on our like iPhone notes and send it to each other. Like that's what we do. Like
we do. Like track of everything.
That's awesome, because that canvas also, like, let's say you go into a business meeting or something like that, you could literally put that up on a whiteboard and walk somebody through.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Like you're like, if you're going to go into a business meeting, you're going to talk to an attorney or whatever, or somebody else that you're going to partner with. It's like, hey, this is exactly how we do things. Here's all the people we partner with.
Nice.
So I was able to do that. Like Flo-Bottle is like my second venture, because I've had another one that failed before, and I learned so much from that failure.
Oh, okay.
So it was an automatic floss machine.
Oh, okay. Nice. Hey, it was in with something that you're very familiar to, and obviously you're passionate about it, or you wouldn't be doing this as a profession. So, but the cool thing is now, like, you wouldn't change it, right? Just because it failed, like, you wouldn't go back and be like, I wish I didn't do that.
No, I learned so much from it, bro. Like I so it was called Flossmore.
Okay.
So Flossmore, it was like it was an automatic hand dispenser or automatic floss dispenser. Right. So that would have a timer on, or like kind of like a light cue on it. So like if you're at home, and a lot of people forget to floss before bed. Right. So I always say floss, brush, mouthwash before bed, get all the food out of there before you go to sleep. Right. So a lot of people, it's about creating a habit. Right. So that machine will help you create a habit. And plus you just stick your hand underneath there and just boop, it'll just pop out floss in your hand. Right. So you don't have to touch it. You don't have to pull it. Nice. For dentists, we always have to take off our gloves, get a new piece of floss. If your dentist doesn't take off their gloves to pick up floss, then go see somebody else, because they just touch your mouth, touch the floss dispenser. So it's all over. Right. So I was like, oh, okay. But from that, we just learned a lot, because that was like a 2-3 year venture. It took a really long time, because working with floss is really hard, but we were able to learn how to, like, a lot of the tooling on that was all proprietary, so we had to find, so we had to find an engineer to do that, put it in CAD. We worked with a company called SAS Mechanical out here in Las Vegas. I think they're not doing it anymore. And then then we worked with a company out here called Asian Pro Source. So if anybody's looking to make a product in China, you could check out Asian Pro Source too, out here in Las Vegas. I have no affiliation with them. I'm not working with them on Flo-Bottle, but they're a great tool to help you find manufacturing in China.
Oh, nice. Right? Okay.
So they'll help you, like, let's say you sketched out something on napkin, right? And then you write out the business model, all this other stuff. You go to Asian Pro Source. They'll try to find somebody in China that can help make your product, right? So, but what they do is they're in China also. So a lot of stuff in China, they reverse engineer it and they steal your stuff, right? So Asian Pro Source they have, because they have people on the ground in China, they're able to protect your product, right? And trademarking in China also.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Right. So that's another resource that your listeners can go to if they have an idea. They're like, hey, sure. I want to make, right. So, but there's a lot of companies in the US too that you could do like 3D mock-ups and 3D modeling and stuff. And that's what we did a lot of at the beginning too, just getting plastic pieces and putting it together and trying to use as many local guys as we can for that.
Nice.
So yeah, that's another thing.
That's what I do for a living.
Oh, really? You do 3D model?
Yeah. I use Pro Engineer. So I model tire molds and tire treads and stuff and all the sites and everything that goes. I've been doing it for 20 years. We've got into 3D awesome. 12 years ago. We started doing 3D work. Everything was 2D when I first started doing it, but that's by trade. So I'm an engineer. I'm a design engineer by trade.
Oh, so you're a brainiac, bro.
Yeah. So I draw, but people say that all the time. I go, I draw on the computer all day. Like I draw on 2 big screens at home because I've been working at home for the last 2 years since COVID. So
yeah, but you can see in 3 and 4 dimensions, you know what I mean? Like when you do that, like that's really hard to do CAD and stuff like that. And be able to see it in those dimensions, you know?
My wife hates it because she's like, just stuff in general in the house. Because I've done it for so long, it's kind of there in my brain, you know, but if we're redoing stuff or whatever, she's always like, God, I hate you. She's like, you can see all this. Like you just see it already, like the whole picture, the whole layout. And I'm like, but honey, I've been doing this for a long time. Like not this specifically, but my brain is wired that way now, you know?
Yeah.
So except for jujitsu, it works, but it also causes you to not go very well fast. Because Chad's always like, dude, your brain's like going, I can see it.
Slow down.
It's like, well, I'll hesitate because I'll be thinking about things and I'll be like, chain A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute. And then it's too late. And then I'm swept or something. And I'm like, dang it.
Yeah. Cause he can see you probably thinking your way through a move and you're like, it's too late already.
Yes. Yeah. I haven't, I've gotten better.
I do the same. I do the same thing. Yeah.
It's okay though. It's part of the process, right? It's part of the journey. And I would never change it. Not now. I love it. I love doing jujitsu so much. You know, it's just people, I just got asked on Easter, a family event, and people were like, you're going to do this forever? Like, you're going to be 45 soon. And I'm like, I have barely been doing it for one thing. I was like, but A, my coach isn't going to let me quit.
No.
I was like, and B, I'm not going to quit. And my wife is always like, you're happy when you get home from jujitsu. So.
Yeah. Jujitsu makes me not think about all this other stuff. Like when I'm for sure. Like when you're stressed and stuff like that, I think when you could go break out a sweat and wrestle with other guys to try to choke each other out. I mean, it's something about that where you don't think about bills. Like for me, I don't, you know, like,
you have a lot going on. You have family, you have,
I got
businesses basically, right?
Yeah, no, it is like, and it's just so much time. Like for me, I feel like some days you feel swamped because at this point I've grown the practice to over 25 employees, you know, nice. So
awesome.
So I'm running that. We're running Flo-Bottle at the same time, you know, and then you have to be dad too, you know, so I have to be able to turn that off and be dad. And so my jujitsu days, I'm able to go and like, just sweat it out. And my wife knows I'm gone for 2 hours and I come home a different person because you could be all grumpy and stuff, go to jujitsu and just what, like you've never gone to jujitsu saying, man, I wish I didn't go, you know?
Right.
So it's just something about that sport that just all that sweat and that, you know, just being with the guys, you know, it helps a lot.
One of the best quotes that we were just told, and I think we had a guest on the show named Jay Pages. He's in Arizona, Tempe, Arizona. He owns a school out there. And he heard it from, I believe, Alberto Crane, but we're not sure if that's the thing. But he talked about,
that's the one,
he talked about when you're young, you are always thinking about the future. All right. Mm-hmm. Like you're thinking about trying to get to the next level, the next thing. When you're middle-aged, like where we're at, you're thinking of your future and your past a little bit. When you're older, you're only thinking about your past. Like, what should I have done? When you're in jujitsu, you're only thinking about the present.
Yeah.
The only thing that's happening right there at that moment, because you cannot think of anything else or you're done or it's not going to happen or you're not going to learn. You know what I mean? Now that's a huge life lesson because you can put yourself in every situation and go, let me live right now in this present. Jiu-jitsu alone, it doesn't have to be jiu-jitsu, but like you, Bobby, going to school and you had this idea, you know, you got your, you know, through dental school and you started a practice eventually. And that was a thought and you built that. Flo-Bottle's the same thing. You had an idea and you guys started this Flo-Bottle business and now it's just blooming. You don't have to sit back and say, hey, what if we would have did this? What if I would have done that? Like you lived in the present, and jiu-jitsu does that for you. It helps. Martial arts does that for you.
Yeah, it's weird because I find that in dentistry too. You know, I could be like whatever, and then boom, once I sit down and I'm in the mouth, It's like, because dentistry is all in millimeters, right? So I'm like,
okay,
I'm looking at your teeth. I got like these 3.5x, glasses on and stuff like that. When I zoom in on a tooth, it's like, zoom, like you're in it, you're in the zone.
You're in,
right?
Yeah.
Because when I'm shaping that tooth, taking the cavity, doing a root canal, whatever it is, like I have to be in the moment with that tooth.
Mm-hmm.
Like everything else, because it's so detailed, and you're doing surgery, right? You're doing surgery, or you're extracting, bone grafting, implants, all this other stuff that you're doing. Like you can't mess up. Like I got a needle in the mouth. I can't be. I will daydream about jujitsu though.
I don't want you to mess up. Except if you ever have to work on me for whatever reason, and you're like, "Hey man, I was daydreaming about jujitsu," I might give you a fist bump. Unless you have a needle in my gum, and then I might be like, "Hey, could you pull that out first?"
Like so many things you have to be in the moment. And I think like whenever, even with business stuff, like when I'm studying and stuff like that, like it's so easy to get distracted with social media and this and that. Like, man, like I'm trying to grow a business that, with especially with Flo-Bottle, like every business we do, like myself, my wife, or my partners, or anything like that, like how many people can we impact?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was looking at that. Like Flo-Bottle, we're just starting right now. We're like this infant company, and I'll go back to the origins of it in a little bit, but we're just this infant company right now. And we're going through a lot of struggle, and what we see on social media and stuff like that. But like every single month, like right now, we're burning money like crazy to try to get this up and started.
Get it up and starting, get going.
Yeah, because it's such a niche right now that it just takes, I'm patient, but I'm impatient. Like I'm patient.
Right. Sure,
I'm patient in the results, but I'm impatient in my learning and trying to progress as much as I can as a person and as a company. Right. But yeah, I mean, we're just, right now we're just trying to get it up, try to get it going, and then hopefully eventually make a profit to where we can impact as many people as we can from that.
Sure.
So, and like right now I was able to do that through dentistry. Now I want to try to do that in this community and beyond that, nice. So that's kind of where we're at right now with it.
I always tell people, and I feel like if you approach it, anything in life, if you're looking to not just impact yourself, but you want to impact those around you, people you care about, you want better things for people in their life. You want people to succeed. We want people to succeed. Chad and I, and that's a big thing. With this show, we wanted to impact people's lives. And I get impatient. I'm patient, but I'm also impatient because, we're like, oh, we want to grow the show. We want to turn it into a business maybe. So we did all that. And there are days where I'm like, oh man, like this is really hard. And it's not going the way that I want it to, but I think at the ultimate goal at the end, like you're saying, like I want it to impact people. I want people to understand that they belong and that I want them to be successful, and that sounds to me like with Flo-Bottle, that's with your goal, not just with Flo-Bottle, but everything you've done in your life, but Flo-Bottle too. Like you want to build a great product and a great community, but you also want it to impact people's lives for the good of those people, not just yourself.
Yeah, for sure. Like my wife and I, and our partner also, like we always said, like, hey, we want to make Flo-Bottle because so many parents right now, what I see now is like parents just in sports, right? It's year round. It's year round sports. Like my brother has 3 kids too. Like he's all like they like basketball, swim, baseball, football, whatever it is. It's year round. So it's like super expensive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. Like even jiu-jitsu is year round. Right. And you go to tournaments and stuff like that. Like a lot of parents, like they're already struggling doing what they're doing. So it's like, I want to build this company up so that we can start foundations. So I could help with tournaments. We could help in different ways with soccer or football, like the mom that's struggling, putting her kid through school, whatever it is. Like, how can I keep your kid in sports? Say we want to keep them in the sports that their kids love. And they want to be in, just because I know how sports and martial arts has impacted our lives. So we want to get this company up to eventually be able to do that on a mass scale, but we know it's going to take time, right? Sure. We know it has, because it can fold in 6 months. I don't know.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like depending on how it goes, because it doesn't take much for a business to fold. Right. So if you I truly believe in the product, so we wanted to make a high end product. We didn't want it to just be a trinket, that you just put aside. Yeah. We wanted to be useful. We wanted to be able to hold water and all your necessities. And so that, whoever has it has peace of mind that their stuff's with them. I always know my tape is with me when I go to jiu-jitsu.
It's in your Flo-Bottle.
Yeah, it's in my Flo-Bottle. I always know my kids' snacks are in there, or their hair ties are in there, whatever it is that they need. Like, it's just peace of mind for me as a parent, like sending them off to like, so my oldest daughter, she does dance also. So
nice.
So whatever she needs, it's in there, their keys or whatever, a little bit of money. Right. So it's in there, and that's just a part of it. And that's kind of how like it came about was, my wife and I were sitting around the jiu-jitsu gym, and, this is back in 2019 when we first thought about it. And around the mat, what's around the mat, Chad? Just stuff, right?
The stuff
back in the day, right? Just like sandals, and there's masks and keys and all
keys.
Like, I'm a dentist, so I do a lot of custom mouthpieces for the jiu-jitsu guys, right? So,
nice. Okay.
So that, the mouthpieces could go in there and all this stuff. So we were just sitting around the mat, and I go home, and it was just a thought. And I was like, man, everybody has water bottles. Like, I have like a whole cabinet full of water bottles.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, I think, we can merge these two together. So the first part of the research was, okay, let's look. So I always look at a red ocean and a blue ocean, right? When it comes to products, a red ocean is just an ocean filled with blood from all the sharks eating each other. Right. So if you try to like open a soda company right now, you gotta fight with like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and all these companies. Yeah. Right. So if you do your research, you're like, oh, there's too many people in this space. Right. Then you have to figure out what's unique about your product. So we looked at, okay, are we in a blue ocean, where there's not that many sharks. There's only maybe a couple other competitors, we saw like some plastic bottles with stuff in it. There's another company that kind of does it in a different way where you have to flip it over, but nobody that had actual storage like cup with it. So we're like, okay, it's kind of blue ocean-ish, but what we found out was like the stainless steel water bottle, like it is hard to differentiate yourself, because when you look at Flo-Bottle, it just looks like a regular bottle. So we had to look at our marketing and be like, okay, how can we show value, right? It's always about how can we show value to our clients, right? So, so that's like a lot of our marketing is geared towards like how we're showing value and how can it impact the person using it, to make their life a little bit easier, a little bit of peace of mind or whatever it is, So nice. That's kind of how we started, Do
you think, and this is just an engineering type question because of my brain, like 2.0, have you ever think of evolving it out of anything else that you've already done, just out of curiosity? You could say yes, you don't have to tell me what it is.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, hey, maybe we can implement that or something. Cause I don't want anyone like getting some idea out there. Like,
to me, like, at first like whenever I came up with the ideas, like, oh, you have to sign an NDA and all this other stuff, but in all true honesty, like, I was like, man, I have no problem telling my ideas now, because it takes a lot to go out and be like, oh, I'm going to take that idea, I'm going to go do something with it.
It's more than what people think. It's easy to say, oh, I'm going to take that. And it's like, no, you're not. Because you have no idea how hard how much effort you're going to have to put into to make it happen. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Flo-Bottle looks so simple, right? It looks super simple. It took us 2 years to get to this point. You know what I mean? Because then you have to think of a name and then the logo. So sure. I use Fiverr a lot, and through Fiverr I found this other company called, I'm gonna just throw out names that I use, right? Because I want people to be able to look this stuff up. I use this company called Clementine House. So I found them off of Fiverr, and I just cold emailed them. It's like, hey, would you be interested in working with this? Because I really like the logos they came up with and all this other stuff.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And our original name was Hero, the Hero bottle. So we always wanted people to feel like they're the hero of their own day and stuff like that, right?
I like the Flo-Bottle better.
Yeah,
I'm just gonna throw that out there.
and then, but we went and saw an attorney, right? An attorney is like, nope, Coleman has Hero. So Coleman's,
no kidding. Okay,
Coleman's been sitting on Hero for about 10 years, and they're not doing anything with it. He's like, I just think it's a bad idea. Go back to the drawing board. So so we're just like, oh man, at first you're just like, what are we going to do? And it took a long time. So we're looking at all these companies try to help us. And man, what I've learned is like every like road bump on the way is just an opportunity to get better. So Hero is cool, but Flo-Bottle is way better, and like it totally matches, like our beachhead market was the jiu-jitsu community.
Okay. Nice.
Cause then we looked at jiu-jitsu. I was like, hey, we're in this, right now. And when you look at jiu-jitsu, there's no major players in there. Nike's not in there. Reebok.
No.
Adidas,
yeah, there's not at all. No, you're 100% right.
All these rash guards and stuff like bags, these are mom and pop shops, with not a crazy amount of funding behind it. Right. So it's kind of like an untapped market, with a lot of very enthusiastic people in it.
Mm-hmm.
So like you see all these t-shirts, with like, enjoy choke instead of enjoy coke, like all this other stuff, other stuff,
trying to play on words and stuff.
Yeah. So it's like there's so many products to be made from it. It's like if you could start there, and if it works there, and then it slowly branches out to other stuff, right? But back to your original question, eventually, like if we could see that this is successful with this size, then we're looking at different sizes.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We have another so we did the silicone boots on the bottom. So we're going to look at different accessories that come out with it, so right now we're kind of playing around with like, different accessories that we could do with it. Maybe something that could drop in the bottle to split up like your vitamins and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah. Like an insert in the bottom and something like that. Nice.
Yeah. So, and then the newest one that we're coming out with, right, that no other company has. So your bottles, where do they usually get bruised? On the bottom, and where else?
On the top corner, the top edge. Yeah. Right. Around that top round part. Yeah.
Around the neck, right?
Around the neck. Yeah.
Yeah. So we're making a silicone neck that goes over it. So
nice. Okay.
We're going to call that protect the neck.
Nice.
Right? So,
I like it.
Yeah. So that'll go around the top rim of it. Right. And then boom. And then it's protected, because I'm looking at my daughter's bottle. It's bruised just bruised all along the neck. Right. So I was like, man, I don't want people to have to buy new bottles all the time because of the bruising. Because when you bruise it, what it does is, because it's a double walled vacuum sealed, all your bottles are, which is Hydro Flask and Yeti and all these. Right? So if you bruise that and it penetrates through there, like it won't hold cold as long. Right. Or hot or anything like that. Because now air seeping in there. So now the condensation can go through and stuff like that. Right. So and that was my wife Jennifer's idea. Was she's like, man, we should make this, and she's been telling me for a while, and I was like, and then when I saw it finally clicked. Sometimes you don't listen to your wife until someone else until you see it, right? But her and my other partner Rex, like, so we huddle all the time. They're such big contributors to, you guys are talking to me, but I mean we have a whole team here.
Sure, right.
But I mean, they get so much credit for so many ideas, and a lot of times we finish each other's sentences and stuff like that. But yeah, just constantly trying to innovate, see where else we can kind of just grab attention and be of use to our customers or our fan base that are buying this. I don't want you to have to buy a bunch of bottles because your bottle keeps on getting bruised, because the kids, they're going to drop this sucker.
Oh yeah,
for sure. The awesome thing,
drop it.
Yeah, even adults, and sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. What I was gonna say, the awesome part is like accessories. So there is no bottle that has like separate accessories that you could buy to improve that bottle, or to like you could make a lanyard of some sort that hooks to like a handle that actually, like a silicone handle that goes to like the big, bottle like type thing or whatever. And like, hey, like I just want to drink it this way instead of popping it and holding it with my hand, all out of silicone, that same exact thing. And there's not that I know of, that any bottle companies that have accessories that you can basically attachments, like you can do stuff to them.
No, they probably want you to buy a new bottle, right?
Well, that's the thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few with like doggy cups and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think like lanyards, you could probably, like Amazon, like it's tough because Amazon has a lot of like really cheap,
like knockoff type stuff. And I call it knockoff, to each their own. It's their own.
Yeah. But it works.
Business product, right?
Yeah, there's like, you can get a stainless steel bottle pretty cheap now off Amazon. It has all the accessories with it and stuff like that. It'll do its job for sure.
Sure.
And that's like who we're competing with. But with ours, like the storage component of it is like the biggest factor. Is like just having, like, because when I go to Jits, dude, I take off my wedding ring, I take off my necklace, I drop it all in there. I know exactly where it's at every single time. Now I don't have to bring my whole bag with me. Right. I already go in my gear or whatnot straight from home, but it's there it's just there if you need it. It's just another tool, it's a tool, so
it makes life easier. It's a tool that makes life easier in everyday people who have families and go and do stuff, and you're constantly running around. You know what I mean? So like that, I just saw just recently the Flo-Bottle on Instagram, one of the marketing videos for the dogs. I have 3 dogs, and literally I was like, Wow. I never even thought about using that part as a. Now my two smaller dogs could drink out of it. I have a really, really big dog and her head's gigantic, so she couldn't.
Yeah. It totally makes sense with pets.
I was just like, wow, never thought about that until I saw that video, which was great.
Yeah, I literally, like, I'm talking to you guys now, but I literally just cold emailed like Petco like the other day.
Oh, really? Nice.
Good. You know, so there's actually,
get after it, man. I mean,
and that's what I tell people, like, how I found how do you find your manufacturer? I was like, I emailed like 5 manufacturers and just like no NDA. I just sent them stuff. I was like, hey, can you guys do this? Right. I was like, dude, just like, you have to research. You have to research, and you have to just throw caution in the wind. If they say no, big deal. But just write a nice email.
Yep.
That's exactly. Write it, and don't be too wordy with it. Be pretty straight to the point, and show your value right off the bat. I always tell people, like, have, they say elevator pitch, right?
Sure.
So I always say, have your one-liner for whatever business or product you want to do. Right. So always have talk about the problem. So it's 3 parts to it: the problem, the solution, and then how they're going to feel afterwards. Right. So if Chad was going to do privates with kids, right, then you're talking to the mom, like, hey, the problem is Johnny sucks at jujitsu, right? He's getting his butt kicked every single day. Right. Right. Or whatever it is. Right. And then
he texts my wife and says that.
Yeah.
Terry sucks at jujitsu every day.
The solution is, hey, if you do privates with me, right, I'm going to teach you the basics, the fundamentals, like how to think your way through things, right? And you're going to get better, right? And then how are they going to feel afterwards, Chad? Confident.
Yeah.
Hey, sure. Johnny's, at the end, Mrs. Smith, Johnny's going to feel really confident about, himself, his abilities, and he'll be able to take that to school and protect himself. Mm-hmm. Right. So now those 3 key aspects. So now you can do that with, like, if it's your podcast or any company that you're trying to come up with. I always say, have that at the ready, because it's sometimes, like, I found myself fumbling through, like, how to explain Flo-Bottle. Right.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. At first I was like, oh shit, like, how do I explain this? Because people were asking about it. And then I was like, I had to really just knock it down to having those 3 key points, and then you make it your own and it becomes a part of the conversation. But if you could start out with that, like whatever that you're making, whether it be a sweater or whatnot, like have those fundamentals down. And then if you do that in an email too, and you format it a certain way, then you're able to provide and show that value to Petco or whoever,
for sure.
King's Kimonos. Or
I was going to say anyone. Yeah. That's what when Chad and I set out to do, not just a podcast, when we did the podcast and then went into the tape, doing limitless tape, we contacted a ton of people. Like, this is what we want. This is what we're looking to see how it's made. We got samples from people who engaged back, but it was all cold emails. It was straight up just like, this is what we're looking to do. Would you like to work with us? So on and so forth. Then we finally found a company and that's who we ended up going with. We got samples in, we had guys test it. Guys tested it for weeks, and it was like, this holds up way better than this, blah, 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 blah. So we went through that same process to doing that. And you have to do that in this world of being an entrepreneur or business minded. You can't just always rely on, like, oh, I hope this happens. Or, you want to get a network, connection with people, but you also want to take a chance. Like, what are they going to do? Not respond to your email? Okay, they didn't respond. Yeah, move on. Or maybe I'll hit them up again in a month and, see from there. Like, I'm persistent and I'm professional about the persistency. Like you said, like, structure that email correctly, structure it a way to where, you're not offending them. You're more engaging them, stuff like that, So good on you, man. Go ahead.
And your tape is legit too, bro. Like, the first time because it number one, it holds up and it's sticky, right? But at the same time, it's sticky, it's easy to take back off.
Yeah, it's not too sticky.
That was a big thing where we didn't want residue left.
Yeah, so the strength on it is good. I find myself using my teeth to freaking like go like that to get to break it. But now I just have to pull it really hard, because don't use your teeth to do stuff, guys. just to eat. Don't use it to
That might be the greatest statement from from a professional dentist that I've ever heard. Don't bite your tape. Wait a minute. Don't bite your tape. Don't do that.
I bit the tape because I was just like, I've had it with this. But if you have any crowns like that, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't do that. But I think that having that one-liner, having that structure, show, because then you're able to, show them what your value is, but also let them know how they're going to feel after you give them something that they want.
Right.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean? Because emotionally, like a lot of people do buy on emotion.
Yes, for sure. Right? They do.
So like when you buy stuff on Instagram, so, that chair looks really cool.
Yeah.
You don't need it. You don't need that chair. Right. But you buy the stupid click chair anyways for $100, because you're like, one day when I go camping, I'm going to need it. You
scroll down through, you're like, oh, I'm going to need need that one day. I'm with you because I've done it. I'm a culprit of it. I'm still.
We did it. We did that today. we went to Cabela's. You ever been to a Cabela's, Bobby?
Yeah.
Have you, Bobby? Yeah.
It's kind of like Bass Pro Shop, right?
Yes. Exactly. Very same. Big aquarium.
There's one and we went to the one in Cleveland. My girlfriend never been to one, so we went there and bought some things we probably didn't need, but it was fun, Yeah. And then I was looking at, they had a bunch of water bottles. I'm like, why don't they have a Flo-Bottle here?
They will
because I haven't emailed them yet.
Because you haven't emailed them yet.
Right.
Yeah, no, I wish, man. I wish we could get in stores like that. That'd be.
You will eventually, man. I just feel like you just got to keep after it, and your attitude and persistence is on a positive note. Like I said, you're not trying to sell someone swampland. You're selling a product that actually speaks for itself. And Chad and I can contest to this. Anyone out there, I advise you highly to go out and check out. It's a quality bottle that has a compartment in it that you can store stuff in. I know you guys have seen it. We've talked about it. It's not just a bottle. It's something that's going to keep something hot if you have something hot in it, and cold if it's something cold in it, and it stays for a long time. It's not just like an hour later and it's going to be warm if it's cold, and then an hour later it's not going to be cold if it's something hot in there. And I tell people, if you want quality, then go buy quality. Don't complain about it. Go, I'm buying a quality product and it's worth every penny that I'm spending. I tell you it all the time. My father-in-law told me years and years ago, when my wife and I first met, old guy, very old military guy. And he was like, Terry, you're going to buy quality. Don't worry about spending the money. He goes, because it's going to last. Well, that's when I look at the Flo-Bottle. When we got them, took them out of the awesome container, which your packaging is fantastic.
It's a really nice
packaging. It's really nice packaging.
Thanks, man. I didn't know it was going to be such a big hit because we just wanted it to be safe when it's shipping.
It's shipped. My wife even picked it up. She was like, what is this? And I was like, open it up. And she was like, wow. And I was like, it's pretty sweet, isn't it?
I'm glad you guys liked it, man.
Yeah, for sure. And you can feel it. Like you feel the quality in it. And I tell people all the time, like, go ahead and go buy a cheap bottle on Amazon and buy the stuff with all the accessories. And guess what? You're going to get what you pay for. So you're going to bang it up. It's going to break. It's not going to be as good. But if you go get a Flo-Bottle, you're going to get a quality product. And I'm big on quality. I know people don't like to, sometimes they're like, I'm too cheap. It's like, well, then get crap and then keep buying crap for like the next 6 months.
Well,
and then at the end of the day, go ahead, Chad.
And it's so, and now more than ever, it's more important to support the grassroots guys, the local mom and pop guys, right?
Yeah, exactly.
It's even more important to do that. I would rather, support those guys than anybody. So.
Yeah,
sure.
You know what, man? Like, I think like any product, like when we first came out, we were scared. Like we were really,
for sure.
We were really nervous. I mean, we put in that big order to get. So like our first order, it was like a minimum of like 2,000 per color, right? So we had to do like 6,000.
Yeah,
we're still on our first order, right? But like, so we're okay. We get the order, and we went to Jiu-Jitsu Con. That was when we first introduced it to the world. So that was our first, like, it was almost like our landing page. That was our first time introducing people. Like, okay, maybe we'll sell 20 bottles, right? Like, hopefully we'll do well. And Jiu-Jitsu Con is by BJJ. So we were at World Masters last, I think, September or so. We're like, okay, let's just go and see. And then the response we got from everybody was really awesome. We ended up selling, we only had, I think, like, I don't know, 200 bottles, something like that. So we ended up selling out in 3 days.
Oh, awesome, man.
But that really gave us the confidence within the community. And like, everybody was just so wonderful about it. Like, people were coming, oh, this is so cool. and like, and the jiu-jitsu community is really tight knit. Like everybody kind of, so like all the other vendors we talked to was like crazy nice. Nick from like the t-shirt company was right next to us, and he was kind of walking us through like how like,
I just saw him yesterday.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I've known Nick for a long time. So.
Yeah, dude, awesome guy, man. He was like, hey, like, just keep pushing. You guys are gonna be okay, So, and then he taught us like how to even fold like the stuff at the like when we're cleaning up after the show was done. How to fold up all the stuff to make it fit.
Nice.
So he was wonderful, man. But like just like the feedback that day from like the people that didn't even do jiu-jitsu, they came to watch their kids, like grandparents came by and stuff like this. Oh, this would be a great Christmas present, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Just to see that response, it gave us confidence to move forward to where we're at today, nice. And to just like, hey, once people see it, they get their hands on it, like it'll hopefully catch, So we're still in that phase right now. We're, like I said, we're still an infant company, just finding our way and just, going through our battles every single day. And like every day I'm just like, hey, let's just get like 0.25% better, cause sometimes that's all we'll see, there's weeks we put out there and we get like one sale, like for the whole week, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And it's just like, it's humbling. Like jiu-jitsu, like it's like the business world, e-com and all that stuff. It's really humbling, but like the hunger to learn and to see where our failures are with our, whether it be our conversion rates or our influencers or our pictures or whatever it is, our average order value. So like we're looking at all these measurements, like, hey, if we could get a 0.25% better at each one of these things every single month, it'll start to build on itself, So that's kind of where we're at right now. Like Chad said, like little micro adjustments here and there.
Yeah. Goals, got to have those goals.
That small little micro.
And I think, because jiu-jitsu is so tight, and obviously you want to branch out from jiu-jitsu, but just like I tell Terry with the tape, I feel it's like one person away from being big. Yeah. Because that's how jiu-jitsu works. It's like, oh, he's got that. He's using limitless tape. I need some of that, and then everybody's got it.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I'm like, man, just like get it in people's hands, I would say. So, so we did what's called a seeding program. So we picked out like 100 influencers and we wanted to test it because and just like, hey, we pick out 100 influencers, just cold emailed them. It's like, hey, we love your content. We just want to send you a free bottle, right? Pick any color. We want to send it to you with no strings attached at all. And I really made that clear, no strings attached. What you'll find out is about 30 to 35% of those people will repost that for you without you even asking.
Yeah. Nice.
Right.
Okay.
So out of those 35 people, you get all those impressions, right? So it's close to like 1 million impressions, right? So if you hand it out to 100 people, right? 100 of your tape. And then, so now you get all these impressions. Dude, you go to a marketing company for that. That's like it's 20 grand, 25 grand to be able to get that many impressions, right? And you're just giving away your product for free. And I was just saying, give first, right? Ask for nothing back, and then see what happens. And we just did that just to see if people would like it,
right?
Just to see if people, just to get feedback on people, and like not even asking for reposts and stuff like that. But about 30-35% of the people actually reposted.
But that's not a bad percentage considering when you free ask like that, that's not bad. I mean, cause you could you'd be like, hey man, this is like a return on your investment. So if I get a 5 to 10% return, that's probably still in a positive manner. I know I'm giving product away, but I'm trying to build a business. So to get 35, I mean, that's pretty good considering, you know what I mean? Like,
and
they're just really good.
Yeah, they're just reposting. And your guys' tape you use for anything. You use for rock climbing,
right? Yeah. That's the thing. Like I bowled once and I've taped my fingers and I was like, look, you can use it for bowling, like tape above your knuckles, like whatever, like
car repair, anything.
Yeah. We have some people who have reached out and got it for butchers. They're butchers all day. Like they butcher up meat and they nick their fingers or whatever. So their fingers are always hurting. So they tape their fingers up and use it for that. So we tell people all the time, it's like, you can use it for all kinds of stuff like golf, baseball, anything to tape your knuckles. Like it's not just wrap around tape. Like it's not just jujitsu tape, to be used on the mat. It's literally specifically, made to cross the knuckle to keep the support of the joints from knuckle to knuckle, so your hands don't give out, or they, you could get a whole day worth of work in and your hands feel great because you have your fingers taped, because you're knuckle to knuckle. So
yeah, I mean, you show that image, you show how people could use it in so many different ways. I mean, I don't see why people wouldn't want to buy it,
Sure.
and it's not like crazy expensive.
No.
Right. Yeah. We're not like,
it's right. Something that's totally accessible and something that, and you guys give a lot of it too. So
yeah,
sure. So one of those packages, like I gave a few away at the gym too.
Good.
Yeah, guys there.
By all means. Like you said, of course, free publicity or whatever promotion. Yeah, like, hey, check this out, man. Check out this tape.
Yeah, free's always good. Yes. Whether you're giving it or receiving it, free's always good.
For sure. Yeah. So, definitely.
Yeah, man.
Awesome.
So, it's cool.
All right, man. Cool. Well, we kept you for a solid hour, man. We got some jiu-jitsu in there. We talked about the Flo-Bottle and everything. So I want you to tell how everyone can get to you, Bobby. And then anything else you would want to tell our listeners or anything you want. We always love to give that ability to our guests, and always, the platform is yours to use as you want.
And I
not like putting you on the spot, but
yeah, I don't want to sound like the general like motivational speaker or anything like that, but I mean, just go out and like whatever your dream is, go out and research the hell out of it. Put in the work to it. If people have questions about, what companies I use or anything like that, let me know, like through my logo or whatever. But like, there's so many like different logo companies out there, like whatever your idea is, just like, hey man, like just go study it because someone else has done it already. I always say like, I look at books, like I like reading a lot. So read as much as you can, like books, like someone put their life's work into writing this book, right? Like everything they ever learned about whatever it is, they put into this book. And it was like $10, right? For you to go and like, you just have to go dig through it, And same thing with podcasts. I listen to podcasts every single day. I generally listen to a lot of business and dentistry podcasts and stuff like that, but I'll listen through 3 hours of bullshit just to get like one little tidbit of something that I could use. But I'm willing to look through that stuff. You know what I mean? So, I mean, look for different companies that you could use. Anybody could email me if they have any questions. They want me to even look through their business plan. I'll look through your business plan with you. I'll sign an NDA, anything that I could help, you guys with, or the people listening here with. They can reach me at Bobby@Flobottle.com. Our tag on Instagram is at Flobottleofficial. So you'll see that. I think we have like maybe not even 1,500 followers so far, so we're building on that, but it's all organic. I don't pay for my followers or anything like that.
Good.
That's awesome.
But it's strictly, I mean, it's literally a mom and pop thing, me and my wife and my partner Rex, but man, like every single day, it's like, I'll force myself to either email somebody or study something, so I would just say like, hey, like the younger you are, start early. The older you are is never too late, and freaking, a quote that I use with my kids is just every day and every way we get better and better, so just get after it, guys.
I like that.
That's awesome. Very good. Yeah. Thanks so much for coming on, Bobby. And
anytime, man.
God bless you and your family and your all your business partners and both businesses and everything that you're doing, man. Keep up the great work and, just keep grinding like you are and showing that positive attitude for people to grow. It's all about being better in this life and all about doing the best that you can each and every day, not only for yourself, but for everybody around you. That's how we have to live. We have to take these, like Chad said earlier, the grassroots thing. And Bobby, you alluded just now to it, the mom and pop. It's like, we need people to support the trueness and the organicness of that to make this world better. That's the only way this is going to work. We got to keep doing that. So good on you, man. And your time, today hanging out with us. And if you need anything, holler at us, Chad and I are always willing to do whatever we can to help people out, No,
you guys are awesome, man.
Stuff out there. So.
You know what, like you guys even inviting me on this was, it's huge for us. It's huge for me. Like it's an honor. Like I've talked to Chad here and there, and it's just been nothing, but you guys are just great guys.
Thank you, man. Thank Thank you.
So you guys are out there grinding. And then I see the people that are on your podcast, everybody's trying to do the same thing, and everybody's really hardworking that you put on there. I'm hoping in 6 months or so, there's a part 2 to this and we're still around.
Let's go, brother.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
I hope so. And then I just got more stories for you on what we're doing, so hopefully you'll see us make an impact. And if any way we could help you guys too, or any of your listeners or anybody that's ever been on your podcast, just tell them to reach out to me. And I'll try my best in whatever way I can to help them, try to find their dreams or accomplish whatever they're trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Awesome. Give a big shout out to Kyle too. Kyle's the one that connected us. Kyle from Logic,
bro.
Logic BJJ, baby.
Yeah.
Kyle Jits player, bro. Him and his wife Morgan.
Yeah.
They've helped us out with a lot of like jiu-jitsu photos and photos, and so everybody go hit up Kyle if you ever need amazing photos at IBJJF.
Yeah. He is amazing at
we had him on one of our earlier podcasts. So I've talked to him a few times, and I saw him posting Flo-Bottle a lot, a lot, and I checked you guys out and I'm like, hey man, this guy? So that's, he kind of connected us and figured we'd do something,
Yeah,
it's about networking too,
Yeah, it is, for like from day one, it's weird, bro. Like, so like you guys are okay going over an hour?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Oh, dude, okay. No. Yeah. And I always do that for our guests, just in case they're like, I'm good.
No, man, like, we go on forever. Like it's the more people we can shout out.
Yeah.
So like my other buddy, Elmer, who helps us a lot with the influencers and stuff like that. Like he put Kyle just one time, like on his stories that say, hey, like this is my buddy, he does. And I just messaged him on Instagram, and then we started talking, and he's like, yeah, I could take photos and stuff at Jiu-Jitsu Con. So, he helped us out with Jiu-Jitsu Con, and it's just weird how like people in your life, like know other people that you didn't even know that could help,
Yep.
And then it just builds from there, and it's all like all the people we work with are just like, number one to me is always they're genuine and they're just kind people. They're just nice, and like we're so blessed to be surrounded by just people that are just go beyond like even what we're asking for, or do stuff that we don't even ask for. And I think that's what the jiu-jitsu community really is like, dude, they just go out of their way to like, oh, you're on this project, how can I help? I got buddies like, oh, you're driving to California, let me know, I'll freaking go with you, I can pick it up for you. And it's like, I was like, bro, like, like that's amazing, like just the help that people are willing to give. And Kyle and Morgan are a couple of those people that you guys know, and that we know that are just, that go out of their way. And it's so many people out there that are just willing to help, So,
we're connected by so little people, or you know what I mean? Like you said, you mentioned
6 degrees of separation, like that thing.
You mentioned Nick from the t-shirt company. I knew exactly who you were talking about. I've known him for like 10 years. What are the odds? It's
He's
crazy.
right beside us. He helped me out.
Yeah. And I saw him yesterday at the tournament.
Who doesn't know Nick? Number one,
well,
he's been everywhere. And like, like we were just a small company. Like he didn't have to give us the time of day.
Mm-mm.
You know what I mean? But he came over, checked on us a couple of times. Hey, you guys good? If you need anything, let me know. And that's another person I met from one of the people that help us a lot with is Elmer here in Las Vegas, man. And like he's another guy in the gym that's just like, boom, like, what do you need help with? I got you. And from all our professors, here at Atos, like everybody's been like that. And
it's so awesome.
And it's amazing because the jiu-jitsu community, I don't think anybody's out to see somebody else fail. You know what I mean?
I don't think so.
I've never seen it in this
community. Because we all know how hard it is. We all know how hard, not that anything else isn't hard, but for whatever reason in jiu-jitsu in that community, and I'm sure people that are outside of this community would argue with me and say, oh, there's other communities like this too. But jiu-jitsu, it's everyone knows how hard it is to climb that mountain every single day, or to do this. So they know, they're like, man, I want to help you in anything you're doing. You know what I mean? Because we know how hard it is to be in that. And then you have the positive attitude. There's humbleness. Like it takes you to another level of going, you know what? I want them to be successful. I'm not looking for my benefit. I want them to be at the top of the thing because they're doing what they love doing. They have a passion doing what they're doing, like you with Flo-Bottle, Bobby. Like I want you to be at the top of the mountain. Like I want to see in, however much time it takes, like walk into Cabela's and be like, I know that guy that owns that company.
I remember us talking about
it. Talking about that, right?
We'll see, man. God willing, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Oh, you will for sure, man. Cool.
So we'll see where that goes. But you know, like I mean, just meeting you guys. I mean, this is the first time I'm meeting Terry. You know, and I could already tell like we could sit down and have a beer and probably you know talk
for hours.
Talk forever. Yeah, because I saw you're a Raiders fan there. The now lost
Las Vegas
Raiders, yeah.
And you probably have the best receiver in the league now.
I'm so happy.
Football team.
I purposely did not wear a Raiders hat. I didn't want to offend anybody.
I'm a hardcore Browns fan because
I'm sorry,
Cleveland. So.
Yeah.
How do you like your new quarterback though, bro?
We'll see. I mean, I'm all for all the outside noise aside.
Yeah.
If he performs and he's as good as what he was when he was able to play, the noise will end. Yeah. Now, if the noise is legit, then you know, it's like a fine line. You walk that fine line. So I support the team as a team and their ability, but I want him to be okay, but I'm still questioning some of the stuff that
it's for me
has happened or that's speculated or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. It's hard to go against 22 people's speculation,
right?
That's a whole nother podcast, but it's hard for me to get behind somebody. Like it's hard to get behind that. I have 2 kids. My girlfriend has a daughter, you know, it's hard to get behind that stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's not like 1 or 2 people.
You have 3 daughters like Bobby. Yeah. It'd be like you're in Cleveland and you're like, I can't support this dude. Like I have a daughter that's 12 years old and it's like, and my wife would never ask me this, like, hey, are you going to support this? But that's been a huge discussion. It's like, what do I do? Like now I wear my Browns gear proudly because I was a Browns fan before this happened and I will be a Browns fan forever. I'm a diehard.
You're a Browns fan. You're a team fan. You're right. Be a player.
Yeah.
I have a shirt that has all the logos that says loyal across it. And people were always like, wow. And I'm like, yeah, it's Cavs. Now Guardians because we had a new baseball name, but all of them, like it's all through there, you know. So
we live in Vegas, so a lot of stuff happens here too, you know. But we're blessed enough to have Derek Carr, who's a big time church goer and kind of leads the way for a lot of the community, you know.
Good. Yeah. So I've always liked Carr. I've always liked him as a person, and I've never had issue with his play. I'm like, look, he's a professional quarterback that has not had the greatest talent around him at all times. So it's very hard. Like,
well, you know, I mean, he does so much for the community. Like I was just at a men's conference that he held here at Thomas and Mack, you know.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And it was great. It's just talking about like our duty as men, you know, to lead and to do what we need to do, you know, outside ourselves and our family, you know, and really affect the community the best that we can, you know. So I think it's essential that we step up, you know, and to get a lot of that stuff done and to really like be pathfinders in this new world that we have of Instagram and social media and stuff like that, you know, 100%. and the kids need it, you know, the kids need it, the community needs it. So, I mean, Chad does that in so many ways. I mean, you're a teacher. I think when you're a teacher, you have a lot of responsibility on setting the example and just really leading. You're a person that every single day you're affecting people's lives and you're leading people, you know, in not only jiu-jitsu, but in life. I'm sure you have those speeches like all the time on the mat.
Yeah,
he does.
Absolutely.
He was going to sell himself short. He's not going to be like, yeah, I do.
Go for it, bro. Let it go. Let's do it, Chad.
But he does a very great job teaching everyone all the time at the gym. And I honestly, if it wasn't for Chad, I don't know if I would have stayed with it because I did 9 classes when I started and then COVID was here in Ohio and it shut down. We shut down. So I had 9 classes in and it shut down. And it was like, I came back. We did line drills. It was like, hey, when do we get to go back? And it was like, hey, we're not going to be training. Like, we're just going to be going up and down the mat, working out for an hour and then going home. I was like, cool, I'm there. And so then I went back right away and just kept at it and then, you know, keep doing it. But he is a huge encourager. And you're right, Bobby, where he talks to people where I think he doesn't even realize he talks to people and says things that impacts them to want to be there. Or when they leave, it impacts them to be, you know, a different person in this journey, not just in life, but in jiu-jitsu. So,
yeah. And I think that's what probably brings a lot of people back. it always starts with the leader first, right? Like it starts with us in the family. It starts with the professor on the mat, so 100%. Same thing here. I see it at our gym with Professor James and Mitch. Like they paved the way through the parents and through the kids. And it's like, why do we come back? It's because of the community. It's the culture.
Yeah,
it
brings you back. Yeah.
It's beyond just like, I always say like a team is very task oriented, right? There's a task that we do. We're going to go win this or do this or accomplish this production or whatever. Right. But a community is a culture where we go above and beyond to try to help each other. Right. And so like all the successful jiu-jitsu gyms that I know of, they have this really tight knit community of people that just love each other and go out of their way to help their kids get better, the gym get better. And then everybody just provides, and I'm sure that's exactly what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah. To me, number one is atmosphere, right? Like when you walk in that door, I'm sure you said you were at a couple other gyms. I'm sure when you walked in the Atos place you're at now, you felt that atmosphere, right? You just felt like you belonged. So I always want atmosphere first. And then, what, they're pretty good at jiu-jitsu too. They're pretty cool dudes, but I want you to feel comfortable when you come into that place,
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Like I was, in business and I did the same thing with dentistry, right? Because who likes going to the dentist? I mean, let's be honest here.
Yeah.
Right. I'm the most hated dude, like, that you have to see twice a year. Right.
My son's about to get Invisalign, man. And we just got the bill in the mail the other day of how much it's going to cost. I was like,
tasty. Like, how much does insurance cover?
Right. I know. That's the first thing I said. My wife's like, well, this much, and then we have to pay this much. I was like, all right, fine. 14-year-old. Here you go, buddy. With dentistry, when I first opened the practice, we looked at all the touch points. So how can we make every touch point a positive one, right? From online to the way that we answer our phones, right? The way that we email, to the moment that you step in, like right when you step in our office, I look at the 5 senses, right? What does it smell like? Right? I don't want it to smell like burning tooth, like when we were when we were kids, right? Yeah.
So, dude, I hired a company that I pay $100 to just make the place smell good. You know what I mean? Like, so you work on the senses visually. How does it look? It has to look clean. Like, how does it sound? You know what I mean? Like, and then like the touch and feel and the pain, right? So you try to mitigate that as much as possible. So if you can make a positive experience with the 5 senses, like in any business, right? And then you look at where all your touch points are. If you can make those all positive, you'll have a positive outcome for sure. People will come back. You'll have returning guests or customers or patients or whatever it is. But I'm constantly analyzing those touch points. I'll sit in my lobby for and just while people are coming in sometimes on my off day, just to see what it feels like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just, what are the sounds of the office? Like, is it too loud? Is it too soft? What does it feel like? I'll cold call my office sometimes just to see how you're being greeted. How you're being greeted, So it's like, so we, hey, let's work on this. Like, how do we get better at this? And then, so we do morning huddles, every day, just to look at what our goals are. And it's always about the experience of the patient. So for you guys, it's the experience, like for Chad, it's the experience of your students, right? So I always say, you want like a mom and pop shop that you walk into, like what's the first thing you hear is people screaming in my office or freaking run out of there, or just like a high speed, like a hand drill and all this other stuff.
Right.
So like that's really helped, like build my dental practice up, is just like keying in on the 5 senses and looking at all the touch points. Look at every single touch point of your podcast, right? Look at every single touch point of every relationship that you have, so that's one of the keys to my business,
And that's good. And it's great advice for anyone out there listening, and anything you're doing, like always assess and analyze what's going on, so you're putting out the best. Big thing. And it just hit in my head when you were talking about it and earlier about organically. Like, that was one thing that Chad and I both were like, with the podcast, we want our guests to walk away and go, wow, that wasn't just a podcast. Like, it was like guys hanging out, gals, like we were friends hanging out, talking, and there was no pressure. We just had fun. There was like, they weren't beating me up with all these questions. They weren't trying to get me to say stuff. It was just like, look, you know what I mean? So, and that was one of the things. That's why we're always like, hey, guys, everyone out there that's listening right now, cheap plug. You want to sponsor our podcast because it's very organic. Go for it. Hit us up.
Or else, it keeps, the thing is, but you need that because it keeps the podcast alive.
Sure.
You know, so in the end, we still need those things to keep our businesses alive. You know, so it's just staying genuine to who we are, you know, and providing the value. Like I'm sure like Chad doesn't hold anything back from his students, right? You're going to provide everything, like all the knowledge that you know, you know? So, I mean, even coming into today, I was like, whatever questions you have, I'm going to give you like who I use, what I use, when I use it, you know, the best that I can, because, you know, if that could help some other entrepreneur out there that has a widget that wants to go out and freaking, you know, storm the world with it, you know, then, hey, email me and I'll help you whatever, you know, I can. If I'm a little bit ahead of you or if I'm behind you, you know, I'll tell you about my mistakes for sure.
Sure. And that's the thing, like you can learn, there's always a possibility, an opportunity to learn in this lifetime, whether it's to teach or to get information, you know? So yeah, it's awesome.
Yep. Awesome, bro.
Good stuff, brother. Appreciate you so much, man. It's so glad to meet you and talk to you. And it'll be so exciting. I can't wait to talk to you again. We'll definitely stay in touch, you know, down the road. And as things going, man, keep us posted. And, you know, if you need anything,
we'll be at Jiu-Jitsu Con again this year. So for
World
Masters in September. So I was talking to them. If you guys come out, stop by the booth, you know, let me know ahead of time. We'll catch dinner or something like that.
Up, right. Right, you know,
on for sure. If any of your students be like, "Hey, I'm from Chad's gym," you know, out there, tell them to swing by and say hi.
Right on.
You know, for sure. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you, man. All right, my brother. Take care. Be safe. Get after it.
You too. God bless. Thank you.
God bless, man. Take it easy.
Okay. Bye, guys.
Later.